Itachi vs Obito. Two ghosts of the Uchiha clan, two prodigies who walked opposite paths, and one rivalry wrapped in lies, manipulation, and unspoken respect. Itachi Uchiha, the man who sacrificed everything in silence, versus Obito Uchiha, the shadow puppeteer who moved the entire world from behind the mask. Today we're diving into one of the most dangerous matchups in Naruto history. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We're shooting for 5K, and follow me on Twitter as I'm active there as well. Itachi was introduced in the manga as a prodigy whose abilities were so advanced that even the most elite shinobi struggled to comprehend what he was doing. At age 7, he graduated the academy at the top of his class. At age 8, he awakened the Sharingan. By 11, he was an Anbu captain, trained for missions involving assassination, espionage, and counterintelligence. This foundational genius became crucial to the matchup with Obito because Itachi's real superpower isn't fireballs or Genjutsu. It's analysis. His ability to understand a technique after seeing it once is repeatedly emphasized. Kakashi even says that Itachi thinks several steps ahead of everyone, which is why most opponents lose before the fight even starts. In a matchup built on timing, deception, and knowledge, it's exactly this kind of mind that creates a danger for Obito. Itachi Sharingan Mastery. The Sharingan is not just a tool for copying jutsus. In Itachi's hands, it becomes a predictive processor that accurately reads muscle tension, chakra output, and movement intention. His fight with Kakashi in part 1 proves this. Without effort, he anticipates Kakashi's counters, reflecting not just dojutsu superiority, but tactical reading. Itachi's Sharingan Mastery means that even if Obito warps behind him, attacks from a blind angle, or manipulates depth, Itachi can track the shift in chakra and predict the direction of the attack. This skill ties directly into the Obito matchup because Itachi's eyes are good enough to read timing windows, exactly what Kamui relies on. Now, Itachi's Tsukiyomi distorts time to an extreme degree, with Itachi warping a single second of real time into 72 hours of psychological torture. The manga stresses that this technique is so overwhelming that even elite Sharingan users like Kakashi could barely survive it. Tsukiyomi doesn't require long eye contact. It activates immediately and rewrites the opponent's mental state. Against Obito, Tsukiyomi is not a kill shot because Obito's Mangekyo offers Genjutsu's resistance. But the technique is still relevant because it demonstrates how fast Itachi can end the fight, and if he forces eye contact during Obito's tangible moments. The threat of Tsukiyomi alone shapes Obito's entire approach, and that's if Obito can break out of Tsukiyomi, and if not, the fight ends there. Itachi can put opponents in Genjutsu with just a finger, and not his eyes alone, which he did to Naruto, because it is instantaneous, unavoidable once triggered, and burns through nearly everything. When Itachi used Amaterasu on Sasuke, the flames triggered before Sasuke could register the attack's start. The black flames even reacted automatically to Obito in the Uchiha hideout. This reaction is crucial. It proves that Itachi programmed Amaterasu to activate on Obito specifically, meaning he understood Obito's timing, structure, and movement patterns. Few jutsus can force Obito into risky positions the way the Amaterasu did, because Obito can't stay intangible forever. Itachi's black flames become a direct counter to Obito's phasing limits. Getting into Itachi Susanoo is one of the most effective versions in the entire series, which is optimized for overwhelming defense and instant offense. The Yadomir neutralizes any ninjutsu with elemental or chakra transformation property. The Totsuka blade seals anything it pierces, bypassing durability entirely. Unlike other Susanoo versions, Itachi's activate instantly and fluidly. We see this during the fight with Sasuke, where his Susanoo manifests. Instant activation is essential against an opponent like Obito, who relies on sudden grabs and warp attempts. The moment Obito materializes, Susanoo is already a hazard. Now getting into Itachi's tactical genius in the battle. One of Itachi's most overlooked feats is his fight against Nagato when he was at Endo Tensei revived. He analyzed Nagato's summons, he countered them instantly, and he develops a plan around Naruto and Killer Bee's movement patterns. And then he executes a perfect strategy to land a hit all in seconds. This isn't raw power, it's perfect timing. In fact, timing defies everything Itachi does. When fighting Sasuke and Orochimaru emerged, he sealed him instantly. When fighting Deidara, he mentally dominated him. When fighting Sasuke, he controlled the entire battle's pace despite being sick and half blind. Their fighting identity is built on exploiting any timing mistake, a skill vital to countering Kamui. Getting into Itachi's physical speed and reaction scaling, Itachi is repeatedly shown reacting to fast-moving opponents effortlessly. Kakashi remarks about Itachi's speed and he couldn't follow his hand signs. His battle with KCM Naruto shows that his reflexes are at a level where he can intercept Naruto mid-charge, even when sick, dehydrated, and nearly blind. Itachi keeps up with Hibai Sasuke, a shinobi who slapped Orochimaru earlier in the series. The scaling matters because Obito is not a speedster. He actually relies on warp timing, not raw quickness. Itachi's proven reflexes ensure that Obito cannot simply just blitz him during a tangible fade. Now, getting into Itachi's intelligence, Itachi's awareness of Obito's secrets altered the entire matchup. The series explicitly shows he was skeptical about Obito's identity. Itachi worked together with Obito to help Itachi massacre the Uchiha and studied his movements, looking deeper into Obito. But I digress. That does not mean he knows everything about Obito's abilities, but who's to say? Obito was the only one to notice Itachi's presence and single him out. Even upon his death, he activated his Amaterasu on Sasuke to activate on Obito's Sharingan automatic. That was Itachi's failsafe, and he was always steps ahead. Obito's development is tied directly to trauma and manipulation. After being crushed under the rock, he spent years influenced by Madara, training under a mentor who taught him deception, misdirection, and assassination tactics. His mindset is ruthless, mission-oriented, and shaped entirely by completing the Eye of the Moon plan. Itachi fights with clarity and logic. Obito fights with emotion buried under the mask. This emotional complexity is important because Obito becomes more dangerous the more personal a fight gets. But Itachi is one of the few people Obito actually feared. Their dynamic isn't just physical, it's psychological. Obito was relieved once Itachi was dead, calling him an eyesore, being gone. Also knowing the deal they made previously, which was not to harm the village or Sasuke. Now, Obito does have a strong hacks. Kamui is the foundation of Obito's entire combat identity. His intangibility makes most ninjutsu irrelevant. His teleportation allows instant repositioning. His warping ability can remove enemies from the battlefield entirely. Kamui essentially removes the need for durability because attacks pass right through Obito. The manga shows several characters struggling with this: Naruto, Kakashi, Minato, and Konan, and all of them needed specific counters to engage Obito meaningfully. Kamui gives Obito complete control over distance, tempo, and engagement, making him one of the most slippery fighters in the series. Getting into Obito's strengths, while Kamui defines Obito's defense, his physical strength is nothing to underestimate. Obito can overpower multiple Jonin simultaneously. Durability is impressive as well. He tanked the Rasengan from Minato, survived Konan's paper bombs detonating beneath a lake, and endured repeated clashes with KCM Naruto without being incapacitated. His durability combined with intangibility makes him one of the hardest villains to actually kill. Obito's fire style is not as refined as Itachi's, but it is explosive and used to manipulate movement. In the War Arc, his fireballs are enormous and are used to push back entire formation of Shinobi Alliance fighters. Obito uses fire style, bomb blast, and battlefield control tools, creating zones where opponents must dodge. This matters in the Itachi matchup because Obito uses fire style not for damage, but to force Itachi into specific positioning, hoping to make Itachi materialize Susanoo prematurely. In this matchup, I will be granting Obito his chains, specifically when he fought Minato. Obito's chains are one of his most underrated weapons. They can phase with him through objects and solidify when wrapped around a target, creating a immobilization tool that even Minato struggled against. But Minato was forced to use Flying Raijin and Rasengan at precise moments to avoid being restrained. These chains are particularly relevant in the Itachi fight because the moment Itachi is immobilized even slightly, Obito can warp him immediately. These chains are Obito's best chance at forcing Itachi into a lose condition. Now, the Ghetto statue is one of Obito's most terrifying assets. It is massive, chakra dense, and powerful, and physically powerful enough to challenge entire platoons. Against Itachi, however, it becomes a double-edged sword. Obito can summon it to force massive battlefield destruction, but Itachi's Susanoo defense and Totsuka sealing make the statue risky to rely on. This is also dangerous for Obito because summoning the Ghetto statue requires him to remain tangible. Against a timing specialist like Itachi, that moment can be fatal. Obito is not a genius on Itachi's level, but he is extremely cunning. His greatest strength is manipulation, tricking entire nations, controlling Akatsuki from the shadows, and altering political outcomes on a global scale. In battles, Obito creates openings by confusing enemies, attacking from blind angles, and attacking psychological pressure. But Obito does poorly against opponents who read his abilities. Once Konan learned the 5-minute time limit, she nearly killed him. Once Minato realized the warp timing, he tagged him instantly. Obito's style collapses when his opponent understands his jutsu. Itachi outclasses Obito in pure tactical genius. He analyzes jutsu more quickly, predicts movement more accurately, and adapts within seconds. In the series, Itachi outmaneuvers opponents like Nagato, arguably the most complex fighter in the entire Akatsuki. Obito's intelligence is strategic, but in battle, Itachi's instant calculation is superior, giving Itachi the win in intelligence. While Obito has a few extremely powerful abilities, Itachi has dozens: fire style, water style, crow clones, shuriken jutsu, tsukiyomi, amaterasu, susanoo, the Tosuke blade, the Yatamir. He has one of the deepest bags in the manga. This versatility allows multiple adaptation paths, whereas Obito relies heavily on Kamui, giving Itachi the versatility advantage. On mobility, however, Obito's Kamui gives him the better battlefield mobility. He can phase, teleport, and reposition instantly. Itachi uses superior predictive movement and footwork, but he cannot match the instantaneous travel of Kamui. Obito can pick the terms of engagement as long as the timing is on his side, even teleporting Itachi into his Kamui and winning the fight, ultimately giving Obito the win. Itachi has Yatamir, which is superior to Kamui in one specific way. It works instantly without risk. Kamui requires Obito to choose between offense and defense, and overuse of intangibility delays attacks, while the Yatamir protects Itachi from any ninjutsu, and his Susanoo itself protects him from physical attacks, giving Itachi the win on defense. Now, Itachi does have a one-shot potential. Obito's warp is a one-shot kill, but only if he can grab Itachi. Tosuke blade, however, ends the fight instantly if it makes contact. No durability required, no resistance possible. Itachi just needs one precise angle, killing Obito. Obito's Mangekyo does not deteriorate his eyesight the way Itachi's illness does. Obito can fight longer and with more stamina. In a prolonged battle, Obito outlasts Itachi, but Itachi rarely fights prolonged battles, giving the win to Obito in stamina. Now I'm going to be getting into how the fight actually goes down. When the fight starts, Obito tries to establish distance and test Itachi's reaction to Kamui feints. He flickered behind Itachi, phasing in and out while attempting to grab him, but Itachi's Sharingan follows every chakra shift. Itachi would immediately deduce the core mechanic: Obito must be solid to warp. With that in mind, Itachi uses clone feints to bait Obito into grabbing a fake body. This would allow Itachi to learn the exact timing of Kamui's intangibility. Obito would increase aggression using chain attacks and giant fireballs to limit Itachi's escape routes, but Itachi would counter with precision, using shuriken trajectories and crow clones to mislead Obito. The battlefield becomes a war of timing. Obito's time to warp versus Itachi's timing to force materialization. Both fighters operate at razor-thin margins. One mistake would end the battle instantly. Obito's intangibility nullifies Itachi's basic ninjutsu, but Itachi uses these jutsu not to harm Obito, but to manipulate the rhythm. Fireballs distort visibility, his clones would force panic phasing, and multiple shuriken would have Obito dodging rather than phasing. Every ninjutsu would become a tool to force Obito into materialization at predictable moments. Obito fires explosive fireballs and summon chains, and manipulate the terrain through Kamui warping. Every clash forces Itachi to adjust. When Itachi's Susanoo appears, Obito has to shift strategy. He cannot warp the construct entirely without exposing himself. Itachi fires to overload Obito's dodging windows. Every projectile creates a pressure point that forces Obito to intangible phase longer than optimal. Once these windows line up, Itachi begins angling Tosuke blade swings to catch Obito during a tangible moment. The fight would transition from ninjutsu trading to controlling the angle, timing, and materialization frames. Every major hit Obito takes in the series come from someone learning Kamui timing. Minato hits from deducing the attack's timing. Konan nearly kills him after discovering the 5-minute time limit. Kakashi lands Kamui strikes by matching Obito's timing. The manga repeatedly shows that Obito's weakness is not durability, not speed, not stamina. It is that his jutsu requires a periodic tangibility. Itachi is a very strong character, and he's very precise. And knowledge is the greatest weapon against Kamui, and Itachi can deduce it. Itachi's victory over Nagato demonstrates perfect timing. His fight against Sasuke shows perfect control. His sealing of Orochimaru shows perfect execution. The manga paints Itachi as a specialist in exploiting microscopic timing errors. This is exactly how Obito loses the matchup. Thus, the manga's evidence overwhelmingly supports the conclusion. Itachi forces Obito into a tangible moment and seals him with the Tosuke blade. Obito is stronger in raw stamina and mobility, but Itachi wins where it matters: timing, sealing, and lethal execution. Obito can win this fight if it's prolonged, and he can win if he teleports Itachi into the Kamui dimension. But that's the only win con Obito has. Itachi can place Obito in the Tsukiyomi and snipe him with Amaterasu while he's vulnerable as well. This matchup is close, but ultimately Itachi wins this fight. But comment down below your thoughts on this fight. Subscribe for more content like this. I'm shooting for 5K, and also follow me on Twitter @AnimeForGames.